Alright guys, it is now time for my Week 5 picks of the 2022 NFL season. As last week, I went 11-5, my best record so far this season. Still would like if I could have gotten to 12-4, but hey, after 3 straight weeks of suffering, I'll take 11-5 for right now, but I expect better this week. And of course, here's the playoff stands. If the regular season ended today, and this regular season stands too, in the AFC, the Dolphins have to bye, with Titans at Chiefs, Bengals at Jaguars, and Bills at Browns. And the NFC is the Packers with the bye. The Eagles with the bye, with Packers at Vikings, Giants at Buccaneers, and Cowboys at 49ers. And my Super Bowl pick right now would be the Bills over the Eagles. So now, let's get to my Week 5 picks. Starting off with Thursday night tonight. Battle of disappointments as the Colts are at the Broncos for the first time since 2016. Colts won the last one. The Broncos haven't beaten them since 2016. And the Colts haven't won in Denver since 2010. So the Colts blew it against the Titans as they are definitely struggling right now, looking horrible. But so are the Broncos. I expect them to lose to the Raiders. But even with that aside, both teams I thought were going to be playoff contenders. They are just not playing good whatsoever. Oh my god, the Colts are not doing so well. Broncos, their defense is elite, but their offense has been horrible so far, just like last year. As this is like a game between two teams that really don't deserve to win. And of course, unfortunately for the Colts, last I heard the other day, Jonathan Taylor's not playing, so there goes like their main offensive threat for this game too. This one's really tough to pick. But of course, no JT and the Broncos defense still being good. I'm going to have to probably pick the Broncos for this one. But either team's so disappointed, I wouldn't be surprised who won either. Then we get to Sunday, start off with our second London game. As I don't think it's a good matchup, but in terms of record-wise, it is. As the big one, the NFC side, as the Giants are at the Packers for the first time since 2016. Packers won the last two. The Giants haven't beaten them since 2013, and they haven't won in Lambeau since 2004. Although they won't even be in Lambeau, it's in London. So the Giants got that needed victory against the Bears. As, hey, 3-1 so far to a good start, but we'll maintain though because now they have to go up against an actual team that's scary. As the Packers barely, honestly, beat the Patriots, and I mean barely. They really got by with that one. Almost got to a tie. Definitely a lot of concerns right now for the Packers so far this year. But the Giants are still probably going to be bad. So, picking the Packers for this one. We'll see how the Giants do against an actual competitor. Then, we get to the 1 p.m. action. Starting off with the Steelers at the Bills for the third year in a row. Steelers won the last one the season opener, remember. And the Bills haven't beaten them since 2020. So, the Steelers choked away a game against the Jets. As they're off to the same start they were last year. I'm not surprised since I thought they were going to be bad this year. Meanwhile, the Bills, they were getting beat really badly against the Ravens, and then they pull off that huge comeback to win, as they are in the driver's seat of the AFC side at the moment, looking really good. I'm picking the Bills for this one to get the revenge on the Steelers. Watch the Steelers will somehow pull off the upset like they did last year. Then we get to a big one on the AFC side, as the Chargers are at the Browns for the first time since 2018. Chargers won the last 3. The Browns haven't beaten them since their only win, remember, in 2016. And the Chargers haven't won in Cleveland since 2009. Oh, wait, no, that's incorrect. It's 2018 they last won. Nice, remember that. So, anyways, the Chargers got that needed victory over the Texans as they're back to 500. The Browns, meanwhile, choked away and struggled against the Falcons as, like, the Browns are so inconsistent. They could have been possibly 4-0 right now. And here they are just 2-2. So, it's going to come down to who's going to choke it away is the question. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I think I might edge out the Chargers just barely, but I'm not really confident in that one. And then it's the Texans at the Jaguars. The Texans won the last 8. The Jaguars haven't beaten them since 2017. As the Texans lost to the Chargers last week, their first game where it wasn't within a score. Although they were getting blown at first, they did make the comeback a little bit, but the Chargers did enough to keep it within less than a 1 score. Meanwhile, the Jaguars, it looked like they were going to destroy the Eagles, only themselves get destroyed right back as they lost by 8. Although they could have been 4-0 still also as well. But this should be an easy opponent for Jaguars, and I trust them a lot more, so I'm picking them this time around. Then it's a big one in the NFC North as the Bears are at the Vikings. Vikings won the last two. The Bears haven't beaten them since 2020. So the Bears lost to the Giants with one of the worst offenses in the league other than a rushing game. And the Vikings barely beat the Saints in London. They had to pull off that one hell of a comeback, too. Still not necessarily looking the best, but hey, they're still 3-1. So, this is a trap game, too, for the Vikings, because the Bears usually actually win, believe it or not, when they visit the Vikings. But I'm going to pick the Vikings for this one. Alright. Then, it's the Lions at the Patriots for the first time since 2014. The Lions won the last one. Patriots haven't beaten them since 2014, and the Lions haven't won in Foxborough since 1993. So, the Lions are like one of the strangest and the most perfect perfect example of why you cannot be balanced, be too favored in one side of the ball. They have one of the best offenses in the league, but their defense is one of the worst I've ever probably seen, to the point where they're 1-3. If their defense was just even average, they could be 4-0 right now. Just think about that. They even have a Russian offense, which they haven't had like in 20 plus years, and that still isn't enough for them as they lost to the Seahawks unbelievably. Meanwhile, the Patriots, oh man, they put up a good fight against the Packers, but in the end they just couldn't do it, even with a third string too, because I didn't know I think Mac Jones was out of that game before I did my picks last week. I can't remember. So I have no idea if he's playing or not. So now the question is, one of these teams is going to be 1-4 unless they tie. What's going to break, though? Well, the Lions put up because the Patriots don't have an offense, remember. But the Lions don't have a defense either. So will it be a case that the Lions finally score enough points that the Patriots' weak offense cannot keep up? Or will the Patriots' defense, which has been somewhat good this year, put up enough to actually stop the Lions from scoring a lot of points? Like, this is really weird and a really tough pick. But as much as I really want to pick the Lions because that offense is so explosive, I'm going to have to pick the Patriots for this one. Then it's the Seahawks at the Saints for the first time since 2016. The Saints won the last two. Seahawks haven't beaten them since 2013, and they haven't won in New Orleans since 2004. As the Seahawks, 2-2 right now, thought they were going to be like one of the worst teams in the league, but they would be 3-1 right now if it weren't for the Falcons. That's incredible, as they put up 48 points on the horrible Lions defense, as they really need. But likewise, their defense is also atrocious. Meanwhile, the Saints, so much for their bye after London. I just realized that too with the Vikings, as they lost to the Vikings when they put up a hard-fought fight, as they are struggling pretty badly. Of course, Winston didn't play. I have no idea if he's going to be playing this week. But, well, actually, no, the Saints have been really struggling this year. Was not expecting that. They could have honestly been 0-4 to start off the year. That's really sad. You know what? I'm going to have to pick the Seahawks for this one. The momentum's on their side right now. Alright, then it's the Dolphins at the Jets. A big one in AFC AFC East, as the Dolphins won the last four. The Jets haven't beaten them since 2019. So, the Dolphins suffered their first loss of the season against the Bengals. And, of course, Tua got hurt again, which is why maybe he shouldn't have played last week, because pretty confident he did have that concussion against the Bills. And, of course, thankfully for him, he's not playing this week, which he shouldn't have done last week either. So, the Jets, meanwhile, pulled off that clutch comeback against the Steelers, but they're still not really that good of a team despite their 2-0 record. And they've been horrible when they're at home. And you know what? Despite despite the fact that the Dolphins are not going to be without Tua, and I don't think they're as good as their record indicated, I'm going to pick the Dolphins still for this one. I just don't trust the Jets enough. Then it's the Falcons at the Buccaneers with the NFC South lead on the line too, believe it or not. As the Buccaneers won the last four, the Falcons haven't beaten them since 2019. So the Falcons got that needed victory against the the Browns, and they now won 2 in a row, and they're on the verge of getting back into the lead of the division, but they're got to get past the Buccaneers team, which, hey, now lost 2 in a row, as Mahomes got his revenge from the Super Bowl loss. They crushed their defense, as Brady looked like for the first time this season actually played somewhat good, but now their defense choked too. Like, the Buccaneers so far 4 games in have been really struggling. Their offense has been pretty bad. Their defense was elite until they met Mahomes last week. So, not looking good for them, but the Falcons are a pretty bad team, so surely the Buccaneers should be able to win that, right? Right? Alright. Then it's the Titans at the Commanders for the first time since 2014. The Titans won the last one. The Commanders haven't beaten them since 2014. And the Titans haven't won in Landover since 2006. As the Titans have to start off 0-2 and looking horrible, they've now won 2 in a row and are right in the mix in the AFC South again. Unbelievable. As they beat the Colts, and the Commanders got the shit kicked out of them by the Cowboys, as they are definitely looking like one of the worst teams in the NFC stat-wise. They are not looking really good whatsoever. So, really tough decision. But hey, you know what? The Titans have managed to come back despite how terrible they've been, so I'm going to pick the Titans again. Then we get to the 4 p.m. game. Start off with the 49ers at Panthers for the first time since 2016. 49ers won the last one. The Panthers haven't beaten them since 2017, and they haven't won at home since 2016 against them. So anyways, the 49ers got that needed victory over the Rams, crushed them once again as they're right in the NFC West mix again. They're now leading the division. Meanwhile, the Panthers, Baker's not working out well for them as they got embarrassed by the Cardinals as their offense is just bad. And they don't even have that elite defense they had at the start of last year either. Definitely not looking good for them. So, I'm going to pick the 49ers for this one. Then, it's a big one, the NFC side, as the Eagles are at the Cardinals for the first time since 2020. The Cardinals won the last one. The Eagles haven't beaten them since 2017, and they haven't won in Glendale since 2001, back when they were in Tampa, I believe it was. Meanwhile, the Eagles trying to go to 5-0 for the first time since 2004 as they're the last undefeated team in the league now, as they pretty much spanked the Jaguars. As all around right now, other than the Bills, they're looking like the best team in the league and the best in the NFC easily, as definitely overachieving what I thought they were going to be. Meanwhile, the Cardinals got that needed victory over the Panthers, although it didn't look necessarily the best. Oh boy, this might be crazy. Despite the Eagles playing really, really, really good, I'm actually going to pick the Cardinals in an upset. So we'll see once I get the pie in my face after that, because the Eagles have definitely surprised me this year. Was definitely wrong about them at the start, but I don't trust them to go to 5-0 yet. Then we get to the Cowboys at Rams for the first time since 2020. Rams won the last one. The Cowboys haven't beaten them since 2019, and they haven't won on the road since 2014 when the Rams were back at St. Louis. As the Cowboys, first really strong win of the season, and they're now 3-1 without Dak, as Cooper Rush still leading the way easily. Maybe quarterback controversy, question mark. So, need that victory, and the Rams got crushed by the 49ers as they're definitely having a Super Bowl hangover right now. Okay, definitely a concern game for the Rams especially, as they're on the verge of having a losing record. Now, this one is actually kind of tough to pick. Cowboys are having a momentum on their side, but they're still kind of weak, though, without Dak. Their defense is playing really good, but their offense has not been really good either. Although the Rams have been struggling, I think I might actually pick the Rams still. If Dak was there, I probably would pick the Cowboys. Then we get to the AFC North. As for Sunday night, a big one with the AFC North lead on the line, as the Bengals are at the Ravens. Bengals won the last two. The Ravens haven't beaten them since 2020. As the Bengals beat the Dolphins on Thursday night last week, as they're now back to 500. Meanwhile, the Ravens, once again at home, choked a big lead against the Bills to lose it. Ravens so far now have a consistency problem where they're choking away big leads at home, which is not really good. And their defense has been pretty bad, as Lamar also has first bad game. Now, remember, the Bengals swept the Ravens last year in blowouts. Don't think that's going to be the case right now. But the Ravens also give me a little bit of a concern since they keep choking away big leads, especially at home, too. They're 0-2 at home and they're 2-0 on the road. Oh, this is going to be a tough one, but I think I'll still pick the Ravens for this one. Then we get to Monday night, as it's the Raiders at the Chiefs. The Chiefs won the last three. The Raiders haven't beaten them since 2020. As the Raiders got their first win of the year against the Broncos. No more winless teams. As offense are starting to look a little bit better. Their defense is not playing good, though. Meanwhile, the Chiefs completely spanked the Buccaneers, as they are one game away from taking the lead in the AFC side of the playoffs. And I'm picking the Chiefs for this one. Alright, so those are my picks for Week 5. I cannot wait for Colts at Broncos tonight. And of course, I keep forgetting. Hopefully I'll remember this time. I'll put the link to Twitch Prime in the comments so you can get to watch the game too along with me. But here's my picks for week 5. Broncos over the Colts, Packers over the Giants, Bills over the Steelers, Chargers over the Browns, Jaguars over the Texans, Vikings over the Bears, Patriots over the Lions, Seahawks over the Saints, Dolphins over the Jets, Buccaneers over the Falcons, Titans over the Commanders, 49ers over the Panthers, Cardinals over the Eagles, Rams over the Cowboys, Ravens over the Bengals, and Chiefs over the Raiders. So see you guys next time for week 6.